on YouTube that come from the United States use the brand. So let me know if you guys know the brand Catrice and if you want me to do a video, because they actually have really nice products. And I do own a few of their products, but I'm just like, what's the point of using it if you can't buy it? Like, not that I want to sell you the product, but it just sucks if I use something and you guys really like it and you want to buy it, but you can't, you know? It's just kind of annoying. So that's kind of the reason why I never really use their brand. But let me know if you guys are interested, or if there's any other brands. I know Revolution Makeup is a really nice affordable brand as well, which is available in the UK, but I believe it's also not available in the US. Not sure, but let me know. And also, of course, I can just use like NYX Cosmetics or e.l.f. Cosmetics. But now I went in with that same palette. I used the lightest color and I started to blend this underneath the brow bone just to make the transition look a little bit nicer. Then I went in with the Camouflage Concealer, also by Essence. All the products I'm using are by Essence. I'm just blending this right underneath the outer part of the eyelid and just kind of making this more like V shape, if that makes sense. So this will just clean up all the eyeshadow below and just leave me with a really nice clean line, which I think is really nice. And then I went in with a concealer brush and I'm going to use this to apply it all over the eyelids. And this is going to create that cut crease effect. So once I'm like near the crease area, I'm trying to create a super fine line and making kind of like a circle motion. So you will get more like a circle shape, if that makes sense. So take your time with this. If you have never done this before, you definitely want to just take it slow, just go little by little. And that's, I think, the best tip to do this. Also, don't apply too much on your brush. This way you can't really mess it up. You can always apply more concealer, but if you apply too much, it might be a bit harder to remove it from the eyelid. So just use a little bit and go little by little. Then with whatever's left on my brush, I'm just blending it more downwards towards the eyelid. So I again have like a nice clean canvas for the eyeshadows that I want to apply on top of my eyelid. This is a real nicely pigmented concealer, so it was really easy to use it. So this is how it's currently looking. I try to really make sure that both eyes are equal. So I always do one eye first and then I do the other and make sure that it looks equal. Then I went in with this color and I'm gonna apply it in the inner corner of my eye. I'm gonna trying to like create a ombre effect. So I started with this light color in the inner part of the eyelid, and then the more I go towards the outer part, the darker it gets. Then I went in with this kind of like pinky purple. I don't really know what this color is, but it's really pretty. And I'm gonna apply it right next to that first color I used and just kind of pressing it over the eyelids and also softly applying it on top of that first color I used. So the shades kind of like fade into each other. So this is how we're going. And then we're gonna go in with the next shade after this. I wanted to use some blue colors as well because I did use that blue color in the outer V, but you can't really see it anymore because of all the blending with the other colors. But it just gives a really unique color, which I really like. Then I went in with this purpley color and blending this in my outer part of the eyelids. I don't even know how to call this, but I'm just loving how mauvey it is and cool toned. It's not like your everyday kind of like simple brown, simple gray. It just has a kind of like a purple undertone, which I really like. And then I went back in with the blue just to pop it a little bit more because, like I said, you can't really see it anymore. So I wanted to bring back that blue, and I just really like how it's currently looking. So just tapping on this color and just blending it back and forth to make sure that everything connects, like the eyeshadow colors on the eyelid with the outer V. And then this is how it's currently looking. And then I went in with this liquid liner. You can use any liner that you like. Essence actually has some really good ones which are super black, and they also dry really nicely, not like with a very shiny finish. I love how matte it is. So I'm just creating a simple line above the lash line, nothing too crazy. I really wanted to focus on the eyeshadow, so I didn't want it to go in with like a wink liner, but if you want, of course you can do that as well. I think that's also gonna be super pretty, but I just wanted the eyeshadow to be like the smokiness in my outer part of the eyelid. So I tried to apply a little bit more in the inner corner. It's always a little bit tricky in this corner. And then I went in with their long-lasting pencil in the color black and applied a little bit of that in the waterline. It's not the best pencil I've tried, but it's just working. And then I went in with this blue color, and I'm gonna use this right underneath the lower lash line, and also trying to kind of like connect it with the eyeshadows in my outer V. But I'm just trying to connect the eyeshadow as tight as possible against the lash line, so the black pencil and the eyeshadow that I'm applying right now kind of connects together. Also, applying the eyeshadow a little bit on top of the waterline will also make it it will make it more long lasting. You're kind of setting it in place. But yeah, I think it looks really good so far. So just pressing on that color, and then I blended it out with this lighter blue color and a super tiny brush. I believe this brush is actually from e.l.f. Cosmetics, if I'm not mistaken, or it's from NYX Cosmetics. Not quite sure, but it's super tiny. It's so cute. So I'm just blending my brush back and forth, and I just continue to blend until I was happy with how everything was looking. Just take your time with this. I really love like a soft blended out lower lash line. It's so pretty. Then I went in with this color and used a little bit of that in the inner corner of the eye just to pop it a little bit more. And then I also dragged it down a little bit towards the lower lash line just to give it a bit more shimmer in that area. Then I curled my lashes real quick because we're almost finished. So I'm using this lash curler, and I will be going in with some mascara, of course. I'm not applying too much mascara on the upper lashes because I will go in with some falsies. But I always make sure to use a little bit mascara because it will make my lashes more black, and it will just kind of fade more into the fake lashes. So I applied these really voluminous lashes, and this is how it's currently looking. I love how it turned out. Let me know if this is something you would wear. Let me know if you have products from Essence, if there are any specific products you want me to use in my next video. I know you guys like really when I do drugstore videos, so let me know if you have